Welcome back all. Today we're going to be learning about a portfolio company giving us exposure into hydrogen and other natural gas and energy technologies with an AI crossover in typical 3D capital fashion. I'm now here with John, CEO of 3D portfolio company Quebec Innovative Materials, a mineral exploration company with a diverse portfolio of natural resource assets such as high-grade silica, hydrogen, and helium. John, please give us a rough overview of the company, your track record in the province of Quebec, and how QIMC was founded.
Thank you, Hector, for having me, and thank you to our partner, obviously, 3D Capital. So QIMC is working towards becoming a sustainable supplier of clean energy, which is obviously essential to power that new AI, crypto economy, data centers, and obviously for working towards that net zero objective, for the government of Quebec, for the government of Canada. My background, I'm a banker by trade. I have a law degree focusing on corporate and securities law, as well as an MBA in finance from Western. I've raised over $1 billion for resources. I've been a very, very big active player in the natural resources space in the province of Quebec. Was behind a lot of big financings in the province of Quebec as well. Regarding QIMC, I'm a co-founder of QIMC. One of the pillars of QIMC was to be a clean energy supplier. That's what brought us into the high-grade silica space, migrated into natural hydrogen and white hydrogen because we have a very close relationship with the INRS, which is a Quebec-funded research institute, the largest one in the province of Quebec. We're exchanging ideas with Professor Marc Richer-Laflèche, who is the head of their geoscience laboratory, and we're talking about hydrogen. That was back in 2022. The Quebec government then put out its green energies strategy for 2023. And one of the main highlights of that strategy was obviously hydrogen. So me and Mark decided then to stake a tremendous amount of land and properties focused specifically on the hydrogen space. And here we are in 2024 with natural hydrogen being one of the big focuses of the company right now.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I love how, well, normally you want companies to be around for a long time, but with something like this, you've only been around for, 2 years, it sounds. But because of the government and these opportunities that have arisen, you've timed everything to an absolute T.
Oh, yeah, we were very, very fortunate. And that all comes down to our relationship with INRS. They helped draft that government report. They helped draft the hydrogen strategy. And they are also the spearheading and leading our exploration program and our research program in hydrogen.
So why look and focus on hydrogen, helium, and silica then?
It's a really good question, and recently we posted on our social media a nice article by Mitsubishi that they put out, and in the article they say, and I'll quote the article, they say hydrogen and hydrogen-based fuels are expected to play a key role in decarbonizing sectors with difficulties abating their CO2 emissions, such as power generation, heavy industry, cement, steel, long-haul transport. Attention is now shifting to hydrogen that occurs naturally in Earth's crust and can be mined with other gases, so-called gold hydrogen. You could call it gold hydrogen, white hydrogen, natural hydrogen, And in the report and in the article that we posted, it says by 2050, demand for hydrogen in a net zero scenario will stand at 430 million tons. With 5 trillion tons of natural hydrogen estimated to be in reserves across the planet, we would only need to tap into a small fraction of these to cover our energy needs for hundreds of years. So we were looking, and it goes back again to how the company was founded and the founding principles of the company. We were looking for sources of initially for high-grade silica, which we still have those assets, but we're looking for clean energy sources. And white hydrogen, natural hydrogen is a space that has been underexplored. Not a lot of people have put any real effort into it, and now it's coming really to the forefront in a significant and very fast way.
Very quick. And actually, two things you touched on there, we're going to have big questions on later, but this natural production is very, very interesting. And then with carbon credits and government grants, it feels like this is, and with those reports you just mentioned, it feels like this is a very, very big space and time for hydrogen. What are the applications then of these minerals? Is it sort of energy, fuel, batteries, and semiconductors? Is that, would you say those are the highlights, or other things as well?
Well, there's cars, hydrogen cars. That's a really big development and really big application as well. Energy, fuel, battery, semiconductors, just this tremendous array of industries that this could be applied to.
Yeah, yeah.
And the beauty of it too is that this is natural occurring hydrogen. That's the big difference here. The big difference between, for example, natural occurring hydrogen and green hydrogen, which is electrically produced, let's say, is the cost. You're talking about a price per kilogram of naturally produced hydrogen is $1 or less.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
And it's unbelievable, and it's below the cost of even fossil fuel derived hydrogen. So it's really like our partner at ThreeD and Sheldon likes to mention, it could be considered the holy grail of clean energy.
Yeah, it could solve a lot of these issues that everyone's trying to solve at the moment.
Exactly.
That's linking onto the next question is, it's typically very expensive to produce. Everyone's used to producing it, and they're not really focusing on this natural. How much? Maybe using the comparison. Do you have a comparison with you saying $1 a kilogram? How much does it normally cost for these other companies?
Well, listen, you're talking about normally 3, 5, 10, 15. You're talking about multiples from what a naturally produced hydrogen deposit would be.
Yeah,
the main cost for natural producing the hydrogen deposit would be in itself the transport per se. That's it. There's nothing else. The extraction is not complicated. It's just the transport that would be the main cost. And we have a significant advantage because our properties are all located within infrastructure. The Ville Marie property, which is the one that we're focusing right now, that's 100 square kilometers. And a road passes right through it.
Yeah.
So these are not properties that are located in, infrastructure. How should I put it? Up in northern, for example, Quebec, where you have to helicopter stuff in, or where it's a significant amount of money just to start a program, just to put your camp. These are properties that are located, I would say maybe 30 minutes from the local village.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, now it seems that it's more easily found naturally, and it's understood off of these reports and the government that you're potentially sitting on effectively this gold mine of hydrogen, which is effectively then is it an unlimited supply, and then in terms of margins, presumably pennies on the dollar we're talking here rather than what we've just talked about. Yeah.
Exactly, and the beauty, it's natural occurring. So technically, if you think about it, it's just constantly recurring hydrogen. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, that's the interesting part. It's because you need basically, we could go on a geological standpoint. You need the 3 elements on this, which we have. You need a rift. You need the gases, the hydrogen gases coming under. You need the rock type that's going to basically cap it, contain the hydrogen, and it's always naturally flowing under it. And that's what you're tapping basically.
And I think you touched on the land package, one of the land packages briefly there.
Yeah.
Would you be able to give like top line details, maybe size, some of these, what's being reported at these locations at the moment?
Well, we could talk about it. So the Ville Marie asset, which is our key asset, it's 100 square kilometers, 8 by 12, tremendous asset, very, very obviously big. The first part of the asset and what INRS is already planning is going to be soil samples and soil exploration, and those are going to be measured in ppm. And the beauty with this type of asset and the beauty with the program is you get you get direct results. And what I mean by that is your soil sample, you get a measurement. There's no need to send to a lab. It's real time. So we're going to get real time numbers, which are going to allow us to even more focus on the areas that need to be focused on. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. And going back to why we selected that package, why Professor Laflèche selected, for example, Ville Marie, and I'll quote a little bit on what he said in our recent press release, because our model is based on what the team at Gold Hydrogen did in Australia with their Ramsay discovery. So Professor Laflèche analyzed that discovery. He saw the three elements that basically guided the team there to do that discovery. And that's why he selected and focused initially. That's where he selected and focused initially on the Ville Marie asset.
And you're looking at others as well at the moment. How many are there any others you want to give top line details on, or can?
Well, there's the other two follow the same pattern. There's the Lac Saint Jean asset as well. It follows the same pattern as Ville Marie. Rift, the two rock types that are required are both there as well. And it's the same model. It's the same model basically that Gold Hydrogen is using in Australia, that we're replicating in Quebec with similar rock types and the similar rifts. That's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Brilliant.
And we're talking about Gold Hydrogen that has a market cap of around $200 million.
Wow. Wow, indeed. I mean, we were using gold, like a gold mine, as in quotation marks, but actually it is gold hydrogen. So that's
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you've been noticing as well, Hector, a lot of people refer it as the new gold rush. In a lot of the articles, if you Google hydrogen, you always, you get articles that show up, the new gold rush, gold hydrogen. There's a lot of people that are trying to, and a lot of institutional money that is looking to really position itself in the space right now.
Yeah, definitely. And then there was a third package. Is there anything you wanted to touch on there?
No, the other one is a smaller package. The two big packages are Lac Saint Jean and Ville Marie.
Yeah. I mean, that's more than enough to.
Oh yeah, no, it's a lot of land.
Yeah, definitely. We've touched on it already, but maybe just doubling down. Tell us the sort of potential of this natural production of hydrogen. It's like an unlimited supply, pennies on the dollar. It's $1 per kilogram. Yeah. So what's getting everyone so excited? I mean, we're obviously very excited, but
yeah. Well, you know what? Like natural hydrogen is obviously it's hydrogen formed by natural processes. Okay, so it's light, it's storable, it's energy dense, it's the most low cost energy carrier, and it's really it is potentially the cleanest energy source, for the growing demand in powering, if you think about it, empowering that whole AI revolution.
Yeah, definitely.
AI, the AI and the data centers. I think there was an article recently, I think I read it a couple of days ago, just the power required to for those data centers is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you're going to need, a clean energy source that's really going to get behind this.
Yeah. Would you say that's the main crossover between you guys and AI, or are you working with a couple of AI companies or anything along those lines?
Well, the main source and one of the pillars for us to shift it to the hydrogen was that big data demand, the data centered energy demand. We've been looking at it with our partners at ThreeD. What's the next I would say vertical on the AI trade or even the AI revolution? And one of the big next verticals is the data centers, and not only that, is the power behind the data centers. Where are you going to find all that energy?
Definitely.
And that's where hydrogen came up. And not green hydrogen. Green hydrogen, you need a lot of money for green hydrogen. These are billion-dollar projects.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you go the green hydrogen route when you have the naturally producing white hydrogen that is so much, from a cost perspective, so much more advantageous?
Exactly. I mean, it's considered, as you said, the holy grail of new clean energy, and it's naturally producing everything that people have been looking for, and this is why governments are that's what they've been looking for, and you're seeing these carbon credits and grants. I mean, do you expect to receive any of those quite quickly, or? Yeah.
Well, of course, you have the Canadian government recently released that they're going to be granting for purchase of equipment. The Quebec government has tax credits already on for this. So you're getting a lot of backing from the provincial in Quebec, the provincial government, and federally from the Canadian government. They're really keen on meeting their net zero objectives, and it's such a big political as well, I don't want to say strategy or political objective, that a discovery by QIMC opens the door to a lot of things.
What are the biggest problems you feel like you're solving in relation to green energy? What are your sustainability plans? And obviously you are helping governments achieve net zero. How do you feel like you're going to go about doing that?
From our perspective, we're committed to what? We're committed to sustainable practices. We're committed to innovation, and it's a very low environmental footprint. Those and social acceptability. You're seeing a lot of cases where there's discoveries, but absolutely no social acceptability.
Exactly. Totally agree. What is there much tech that's needed to extract hydrogen?
Well, we haven't. From our perspective right now, what we're looking to do is we're looking to build what is there right now. That's what we're looking to do right now. The first phase for us right now is we're looking to build as much data and as many locations and targets as possible. That's our phase. That's the first phase for the program. And we're very, very confident that the market as well as people are going to be very, very surprised as to what is there. Like from our perspective, obviously, the relationships with the Quebec government are very, very important here. In 2022, the Quebec government initially put out that big Quebec hydrogen and bioenergy strategy report. Okay, then they followed it up with the tabling of Bill 69 a couple of weeks ago, which was even more precise on what they're looking to do in promoting exploration and the use of clean energy and natural resources. So we're going hand in hand here with the Quebec government. And obviously the INRS. The INRS put out a report, and it's available online for everybody to see, on March 17th. The title of the report was Potential for Natural Hydrogen in Quebec. And in the report they rank the various areas in the province, and they highlight the Ville property, which is our area, as their number one.
Wow.
As the number one land package. And after that, they also talk about the Lac Saint Jean area as well. But the number one land packet, the number one area that's highlighted in the report is the Ville area.
Wow, that is very exciting indeed. What work's currently being done? Is it all geology? When would you expect to start extraction?
You know what, Hector? So July 1st, the team is up there. The INRS team is up there starting up the camp. July 7th, Professor LaFlèche shows up with the rest of the team, and then they start the soil sampling and the soil gas survey. Then they're also going to be doing underwater surveys as well, from Lac Témiscamingue that's next to it, The program is planned from July 1st up until November. That's the first phase of the program. There's going to be after that geological surveys to detect the deep structures in the rock, because obviously the hydrogen comes in from those deep structures. And then there's going to be also drone surveys also as well. So it's going to be a very, very aggressive program that Professor Laflèche put together. The program is fully funded. And we're going at it really, really hard.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I can see that. And I can see why, you know, 3D, and we're just about to talk about them, you know, probably heard that news and, you know, thinking next month, and you got these reports, and they're now increasingly, you know, they've been involved in your placing. They've been becoming increasingly vocal about the fact that you've got history with the Quebec government, and that you're in the discovery phase. And they've said that this is potentially the biggest risk reward investment they've seen in a long time. How do you anticipate this sort of relationship continuing? I know Jackson has just joined your board as well, and perhaps Sheldon's coming on as an advisor.
Well, you know what, 3D is a spectacular partner. They've been increasingly vocal on their investment. They're already an insider to the company. Jackson is chairman of the board. Sheldon is coming on as well as an advisor to the company. We are growing together on this, and they keep on growing, and they keep on buying shares in the company. Between me and 3D, between myself and 3D, Sheldon and Jackson, you know, there's around probably 25 million shares amongst us. Wow. You know, amongst our group here. Yeah. And we keep on, every time we have an opportunity, we buy shares. You know, every time when we are not in any blackout, we purchase shares in the market.
Yeah, that's incredibly bullish, and having a tight float for a company is important for a lot of investors. And you're obviously aligned with shareholders. What will you use this new sort of cash position from the placing and other raises for?
There's a lot of, you know, we're using it, you know, we see it as two verticals. Obviously, you know, the program itself is fully funded, but we also have to get the QIMC name out there. You know, we've hired somebody who's helping out with the social media, put together a new website, put together a new presentation, have been marketing the company itself, educating people on natural hydrogen as well, you know. And like I said, it's a two vertical approach, and we've been very fortunate on the first vertical with Professor Laflèche, and on the second vertical with Richard Orsino that we hired, and who's doing a really good job on all the social media for us. Yeah,
very, very good indeed, and hopefully that continues, especially as you make these discoveries, and just the production of this hydrogen could be endless. So very exciting. What makes you stand out from other AI energy companies? Do you have any competitors? I mean, in your deck, there was a couple of competitors, but these are way more expensive. They're sort of 26, 64, 100 million market cap companies. Your market cap's only 3 million at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's obviously incredibly exciting if you quote these figures that you just mentioned at the beginning of this interview.
Well, you know what it is, Hector? The biggest advantage for us is the first mover advantage. You know, we're the first mover advantage in the province of Quebec with regards to the research, the staking of the property, the staking of the Ville Marie asset, the staking of the Lac Saint-Jean asset. You know, we are the first in the province, first mover, given our relationship with the government, given our relationship with INRS. And that's what allowed us to build such a big package, you know. And given that we're using the same model and proven model that the guys at Golden Hydrogen have used, Gold Hydrogen right now obviously is a little bit more advanced in terms of their exploration, but they have a market cap of close to 200 million, AUD.
Yeah.
You know, and we feel from our side, in time, we're going to fall in line with our main comparable.
Yeah, there's more upside with you guys. Yeah, totally agree. Are there any other applications you can see in the future when you're extracting these minerals from the earth? Like we touched on hydrogen cars at the beginning. Anything else, or would you like to go more into detail there?
Well, if you look at it, you know what, the hydrogen economy really continues to build significant momentum. You know, you see it. You see it in the number of mentions on Google. You see it on a lot of the mentions on Twitter right now, or you know, X as you want to call it. And you know, it's beginning to build a lot of momentum. But only half of the production needed to be in place for 2030 to reach net zero has been announced so far.
Yeah.
So there's a spectacular gap here, you know, that we as QIMC are trying to fill.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the, you know, there's a nice table on the global hydrogen demand in a net zero scenario, you know, between 2022 and 2050. And in that table, you see, for example, aviation and marine fuel, you know, power generation, road transport, iron and steel, chemicals, you know, just so tremendous new uses for hydrogen.
Do you think that's also down to the fact that more people, governments are focusing on this area, and therefore we are realizing the potential and what other things it can be used for?
100%. You know what, Hector, it all comes down to energy independence. You know, this is something that's going to allow, you know, let's say a Western government to achieve much quicker energy independence, you know, versus you know, for a net zero economy, you know, that at the end of the day, it's a strategic asset. That's what it is at the end of the day, you know, that allows a government to internally be more energy independent.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing you've said there, and it's made me even more excited, is that you think about all these Western countries that rely so heavily on, you know, going to the Middle East and other places for oil. You have all these wars, but if you can have, you know, some big discoveries like this is really, you know, the future.
No, of course, and look at the recent discoveries. The big one in France, in Lorraine. The recent discovery in you know, in Spain. You know, in Australia.
People are quite one-dimensional now, opening up to, you know, other options. Definitely. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, exactly.
So obviously you're collaborating with some big names, ThreeD Capital, Sheldon, Jackson being some. What about INRS then? They're obviously a big partner.
Yeah, so INRS, so who is INRS? You know, I get that question very often. So INRS is a Quebec-funded research center that was founded by the Quebec government, you know, and one of their goals is to develop Quebec society, let's say, through research and graduate training. So they're the number one entity in Quebec for research intensity. That was in 2022. They have over 50 years of interdisciplinary training and thematic research. They have over 1,000 publications with international partners. You know, and Professor LaFlèche, who is leading the program, well, he's the scientific head of their applied geoscience laboratory. You know, so if you want to partner exactly, if you want to partner here, that's Quebec funded, that was founded by the Quebec government, that's based in Quebec, you know, you have to go with INRS.
Yeah, and you've got them, and that just helps your relationships with the government 100%.
Yeah.
What are the short to medium term catalysts there? I think we've mentioned that literally in the next 2 weeks we've got things starting. So I guess that would be where you'd start. But anything else you want to touch on?
Well, you know what? It's the big catalyst here is obviously the start of the guys and the whole team going on site, starting the soil sample program, starting the soil gas surveys, and the real time results that you're going to get. You know, there's not going to be, like I said, a 2, 3, 4 month delay. We're sending samples we're sending assays to a lab and this and that. No, this is real time. You're going to get real time numbers here. Yeah. You know, and that's a very, very, very big catalyst for a company because there's going to be a lot of news flow.
Well, and then a bigger question, where do you see the company in 5 years? It might be hard or too exciting to think about where you'll be in 5 years, but Do you reckon you can answer that?
Well, you know, it is. I think, Hector, you know, the vision and how this company is we founded the company with a real clean energy perspective, you know, and we've been able to adapt to the demands in the market. You know, nobody would have guessed in 2022, you know, nobody would have thought how AI would be where it is today, or the data centers where they are today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we've been able to. We've been very fortunate to adapt to that. We've been very fortunate to with our relationships with the INRS and with the Quebec government to build a clean energy company. And in 5 years, you know, we want to be basically a supplier of clean energy solutions. That's what we want to be, and we want to keep on supplying the clean energy solutions that's going to power that AI revolution or economy, that's going to be a carbon neutral economy that we think is going to be, and to contribute to a really more sustainable future of significant energy independence.
Yeah, doing amazing things for the world. Thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to, you know, maybe even having you on even sooner because of what's happening in the next month or two. So yeah, we'll speak again soon for sure, John. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hector.